This is Larry Henares making your day with the 10th part of an article we wrote on money for those who do not have enough of it. The title of the chapter is Too Late, Too Unprepared. My friends, events in recent years went by too soon, too fast for the poor nations of the third world to cope with the grand design of rich nations to usher the markets of the world into free trade and an open economy. In view of a worldwide recession and economic stagnation in the 1980s and the 1990s, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, World Bank, General Agreement on Tariffs on Trade, GATT, the Paris Club of Industrialized Nations, and the United States were able to use their leverage to force most countries into new World Trade Organization, WTO, under a regime of free trade. The IMF used its resources to rescue countries from their balance of payments crisis. The World Bank uses development loans. The GATT uses ability to grant and withhold most favored nation status to force acceptance of the lifting of import and exchange barriers, enforcement of intellectual property rights, parity rights of foreigners to engage in business, and membership into the WTO, World Trade Organization. Almost all countries in the world, including the champions of managed economies like Japan, China, Taiwan, South Korea, became chartered members of the new World Trade Organization. Free trade, with its self-correcting mechanisms, is probably the most efficient economic system ever devised, as long as all the participants are more or less on the same level of economic development. The Philippines, since the dollar crisis of 1949, embarked on an industrialization program that, through the administrations of the Quirino, Magsaysay, Garcia, and Macapagal, made as the fastest growing economy in Asia, even during the worst scandals of the allocation of resources. But the administration of Marcos during martial law and Cory Aquino succumbed to the IMF and its Filipino surrogates, and our economy began its downward slide. From a 10-year stabilized peso at 390 pesos per dollar, our economy devalued to 18 pesos per dollar at the end of the Marcos rule, to 28 pesos per dollar at the end of Cory's rule. Once 20 years ahead of Taiwan and South Korea, we rapidly became the basket case of all Asia. By the time all countries of the world joined the WTO, our neighbors were already industrialized and ready to cope with world competition. We remained a poor agricultural country engaged in the export of cheap materials and cheap labor. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Henares making your day with the 10th part of an article we wrote on money. Chapter, Too Late, Too Unprepared. So my friends, it is too late to turn back. It is too late for recriminations. The Ramos administration had no choice but to submit, as did China, Taiwan, Korea, Malaysia, and Indonesia. They were ready. We were not. They know enough to at least delay certain aspects of free trade until they achieve competitive strength. We do not even do that. We welcomed free trade without qualification, as if it was the answer to all our economic ills, egged on by Opus Dei economists like Bernie Villegas, Jesus Stanislao, and Jose Quisha. We laid ourselves open to monopoly, exploitation, speculative attacks, especially by foreigners, without any reciprocal benefits. While being raped, we just enjoyed it, but never got paid for it. Now it's too late. We are now, for better or for worse, in free trade and open economy dictated by the World Trade Organization and the industrialized nations of the West. we are particularly vulnerable because we are not industrialized. We have chosen to plunge head-on into the abyss while our neighbors hesitate at the edge of the precipice and continually prepare themselves for the inevitable. We have only ourselves to blame. We sabotage our fledgling industries by smuggling, by outright preference for imported products, by crony capitalism, by graft and corruption at the highest levels, and by a colonial mentality towards those asshole Americans of low IQ and slavish devotion to the corporate Draculas in the IMF World Bank. In the general design of the World Trade Organization and our technocrats, the Philippines and other poor nations are assigned the role of a vegetable garden to an industrial estate, and our people are to serve as peons in the service of caciques and colons, as untouchables to clean the latrines of the Brahmins of the Western world. We are doomed to perpetual underdevelopment unless the coming information revolution offers a solution. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Lara Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.